A 2,000-year-old machine was pulled from the ocean floor, and it calculated the movements of every known planet with gears so precise, modern watchmakers couldn't replicate them until the 21st century. That's not science fiction. That's Tuesday in ancient history. Fact number 1. The Antikythera mechanism, Earth's first computer. In 1901, sponge divers off the Greek island of Antikythera hauled up fragments of a bronze device from a Roman-era shipwreck dated to approximately 60 BCE. For decades, nobody knew what it was. Then in 2006, a team using advanced X-ray tomography finally decoded it, and the world collectively lost its mind. The Antikythera mechanism contained at least 37 interlocking bronze gears. It tracked the Metonic calendar cycle of 235 lunar months, predicted solar and lunar eclipses up to 18 years in advance, modeled the elliptical orbits of the Sun and Moon with a pin-and-slot epicyclic gear system, and even displayed the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. Here's what makes archaeologists sweat. The next device of comparable mechanical complexity doesn't appear in the historical record until 14th century Europe. That's a gap of over 1,400 years. The precision of its tooth cutting, calculated at approximately 354 gear teeth across the mechanism, required manufacturing tolerances that wouldn't be standardized again until the Industrial Revolution. The full research, published in the journal Scientific Reports in 2021 by University College London, confirmed it modeled all 5 planets known to the ancient Greeks. 1 machine. 0 successors. Completely alone in time. Fact number 2. Roman concrete that outlasts modern cement by 2,000 years. Here is a fact so embarrassing for modern engineers that some of them genuinely do not like talking about it. The concrete holding together the Pantheon in Rome, poured around 125 CE, is structurally stronger today than the day it was made. Modern Portland cement, the stuff we use in virtually every building on Earth, begins degrading within 50 to 100 years. Roman marine concrete, the kind used in harbor structures like those at Caesarea Maritima in Israel, has been sitting underwater for 2,000 years and is actually getting harder. A landmark study published in American Mineralogist in 2017, led by researchers from the University of California, Berkeley and Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, revealed why. Roman engineers used a specific mix of volcanic ash called pozzolana, seawater, and lime. When seawater infiltrated tiny cracks in the concrete, it triggered a chemical reaction that grew interlocking crystals of a rare mineral called tobermorite directly inside the fractures, essentially self-healing the concrete from the inside out. The Romans discovered, entirely empirically, a self-reinforcing crystalline chemistry that materials scientists are only now reverse engineering. NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory has cited this research in studies for building future structures on Mars. A civilization using hand tools and ox carts accidentally invented a building material that space engineers are copying. Let that sink in. Fact number 3. The Baghdad Battery, electric current before Christ. In 1938, German archaeologist Wilhelm Koenig was sorting through artifacts in the Iraq Museum in Baghdad when he noticed something deeply strange. A 5-inch clay jar, dated to the Parthian period between 250 BCE and 224 CE, contained a copper cylinder, an iron rod, and had been sealed with asphalt. It looked almost exactly like a galvanic cell, the fundamental design of a modern battery. Koenig published his hypothesis in 1940. Skeptics erupted. So in 1940, an engineer at General Electric, Willard Gray, built an exact replica using grape juice as the electrolyte, a substance readily available in ancient Iraq, and measured a live electrical output of 1.5 to 2 volts. In 1978, Egyptologist Arne Eggebrecht used a replica to electroplate a silver statuette with gold, completing the process in the same time ancient artifacts suggested. Approximately 12 similar vessels have since been identified from the same archaeological period. What were they powering? Nobody knows. There is no ancient text mentioning electrical current in this region. No wiring. No light bulbs. No connected devices. Just a jar that generates electricity, sitting alone in history, 1,800 years before Alessandro Volta officially invented the battery in 1800 CE. Fact number 4. The Delhi iron pillar that refuses to rust. standing in the courtyard of the Qutb Minar complex in New Delhi, India, is a solid iron pillar 23.8 feet tall, weighing approximately 6 metric tons, forged sometime around 402 CE during the reign of Chandragupta II. It has been standing in open air, exposed to monsoon rains and Delhi humidity, for over 1,600 years. It has almost zero rust. This is metallurgically impossible by the standards of conventional iron production. Modern wrought iron in similar outdoor conditions would be a pile of orange dust within 50 to 100 years. A team from the Indian Institute of Technology Kanpur published research in 2002 in the journal Current Science identifying the reason: the ancient Indian smiths who forged this pillar accidentally, or deliberately, created a specific microstructure during the forging process. Hammering the iron at precise temperatures caused the formation of a thin, stable layer of iron hydrogen phosphate hydrate, called Mesa white, only 1/20th of a millimeter thick, that acts as a permanent passive barrier against corrosion. Modern corrosion engineers did not identify this compound or understand how to intentionally produce it until the late 20th century. An anonymous craftsperson in 4th century India solved a materials science problem that took the rest of humanity another 1,600 years to even understand. Fact number 5. The Saqqara bird, a functional glider blueprint from 200 BCE. In 1898, during an excavation of the Padiyman tomb in Saqqara, Egypt, archaeologists unearthed a small carved wooden object dated to approximately 200 BCE. It was catalogued, labeled a ritual artifact, and sat in the Cairo Museum for 71 years. Then in 1969, Dr. Khalil Messiha, a physician and aviation enthusiast, noticed something alarming during a routine museum visit. The object had a perfectly symmetrical fuselage, upswept wings with a precise dihedral angle engineered to generate lift, and a vertical stabilizer tail fin, characteristics that do not exist in any bird species but are fundamental to aerodynamic design. Dr. Messiha had a scaled-up replica built from the same sycamore wood. In aerodynamics testing, the replica generated measurable lift at low airspeeds and flew in a stable glide. A follow-up analysis by aerospace engineers noted the wing cross-section approximates a modern Göttingen-type airfoil. Did ancient Egyptians achieve powered flight? Almost certainly not. But someone in 200 BCE understood enough about aerodynamics to carve a geometrically accurate functional glider model, 2,100 years before the Wright brothers flew at Kitty Hawk in 1903. The artifact is officially catalogued as Object Number 6347 in the Cairo Museum. You can go look at it right now. Fact number 6. Göbekli Tepe, a civilization that built skyscraper-scale ambition before agriculture. Every history textbook on Earth for the last century taught the same sequence: humans settle down, start farming, develop complex society, then build monuments. Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey demolished that timeline so completely that archaeologists are still arguing about the debris. Excavations led by German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt beginning in 1994 and continuing after his death in 2014 have revealed a megalithic temple complex with T-shaped limestone pillars up to 18 feet tall and weighing up to 10 metric tons each, arranged in precise circular enclosures and decorated with sophisticated bas-relief carvings of animals including foxes, cranes, and scorpions. Radiocarbon dating places its construction at approximately 9,600 BCE, making it over 11,600 years old and predating Stonehenge by 6,000 years. Here is the civilization-shattering detail: there is zero evidence of permanent settlement, farming, or animal domestication at Göbekli Tepe. The people who built it were hunter-gatherers. They somehow organized a coordinated construction project requiring the quarrying, transport, and precise placement of 10-ton stones, without wheels, without metal tools, without agriculture, and without any known form of centralized governance, and then, around 8000 BCE, they deliberately and carefully buried the entire complex under 15 feet of rubble. The reason for the burial remains completely unknown. Only approximately 5% of the site has been excavated so far. Fact number 7. The Nazca Lines, perfectly engineered at scale without elevation. The Nazca Desert in southern Peru contains one of the most geometrically precise large-scale earthworks ever created. Between approximately 500 BCE and 500 CE, the Nazca people used stone tools and manual labor to remove reddish-brown iron oxide-coated pebbles from the desert surface, exposing the pale yellow-gray ground beneath and creating images and lines across an area of roughly 450 square kilometers. The hummingbird figure stretches 93 meters. The condor spans 130 meters. The spider measures 46 meters. Individual straight lines extend undeviated for up to 50 kilometers across terrain that includes hills, dried riverbeds, and irregular ground, maintaining bearing accuracy of better than 1 degree of arc. A 2019 study published by researchers at Yamagata University identified 143 new figures using high-resolution aerial survey and AI pattern recognition, including humanoid figures never previously documented. Here is the engineering miracle. Every single figure is geometrically correct and proportionally accurate only when viewed from directly above, at altitude. Ground-level perspective makes them look like random scratches. Without aircraft, balloons, or any elevated viewing platform confirmed by archaeology, the Nazca people designed, laid out, and quality-controlled images they could never actually see from a useful perspective. Experiments replicating single figures using only wooden stakes and cord have succeeded, but scaling those methods to 50-kilometer straight lines with sub-degree accuracy remains an unsolved engineering problem. Fact number 8. The Lycurgus Cup, Rome's nanotechnology glass from 290 CE. Save the most mind-destroying for last. In the British Museum right now, you can look at a 1,700-year-old Roman glass cup that is green when lit from the front and glows blood red when lit from behind. This is not a glaze. This is not a coating. This is a structural optical property built into the glass itself, and it works through a mechanism that human science did not formally discover until 1857. The Lycurgus cup, dated to approximately 290 to 325 CE and depicting the mythological king Lycurgus, was analyzed by researchers from the British Museum and the Royal Institution in 1990. Their findings were extraordinary. Distributed uniformly throughout the glass at an average spacing of 70 nanometers are nanoparticles of a gold-silver alloy with a precise ratio of 70% silver to 30% gold, each particle measuring between 50 and 100 nanometers in diameter, roughly 1/1000th the width of a human hair. These particles interact with light through a quantum optical phenomenon called plasmon resonance, which selectively absorbs and scatters different wavelengths depending on the light source direction. Plasmon resonance was theoretically described by Michael Faraday in 1857, and the underlying quantum physics wasn't fully understood until the 20th century. The manufacturing of nanoparticles at this precision was not achievable in a controlled, intentional laboratory setting until the 1990s. Whoever made the Lycurgus cup in 4th century Rome either stumbled upon the exact correct alloy ratio and dispersion process by extraordinary accident, or they understood, in some empirical way we cannot reconstruct, how to engineer matter at the nanoscale. Only one complete example of this glass survives in the entire world. No workshop has been found. No recipe exists. It stands as the single most technologically sophisticated artifact of the ancient world, and nobody knows how it was made. From a computer with no successors to glass built with quantum physics, our ancestors were doing things we still struggle to explain. The question isn't whether lost technology existed, the evidence is sitting in museums right now. The question is how much more is still buried. Subscribe to Moonlit Minds for daily mind-blowing facts that will change how you see the world.